remember to hit the record. Now I'm gonna open with this little speech he gave.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the grand fucking canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's interview. It's going to catch up with Janice McAfee, which it's been too long, Janice. But I'm glad things are better for you. You're back in your native land. Still, sorry for everything that you've went through. But there's a lot to catch up on, just catching up on stuff, and then want to talk about AIntivirus.
Yes.
AIntivirus, whichever you want to call it, which came out of left field for most people. In fact, the Twitter got taken down because you were impersonating someone.
Well, actually, it was the bot account that was taken down. John's account is still running. So we had created really quickly. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me on, John. I appreciate it. But it was the AI bot account that was suspended for impersonating the John McAfee. So John's account is still up and running. I still have access to that. That's no problem.
Okay. And your account is still up. People can follow you.
Yes,
too.
my account is still up and running. No problem. Not had any problems as far as that goes.
Well, so, geez, it's really weird to get started. I had been using the chatbot, which I think is pretty cool, and it was weird because it was like talking to John.
Yeah.
He likes you, by the way. Just so you know.
Yeah.
He's some nice things about you. But it was you had some problems with that. Was there someone that they said that you didn't have the right to use his likeness or any of this?
Yeah, okay, so let me just really quickly get into this, and then I really don't want to talk about it anymore. So apparently the Ghost team has taken a very aggressive stance against myself, against Josh Case, and against AIntivirus, which is so weird because they just really quickly, I think it was either when John was arrested or when he died, they removed John's name from the Twitter account because it used to say Ghost Privacy by John McAfee. It doesn't say that anymore. They removed his name out of the white paper, I was told. And now they've given some sort of mention to him briefly in the new white paper that they've made. So to me, it's strange that their animosity, I'm just baffled by their animosity because from all appearances, from what I could tell, it just looked as though they wanted nothing to be, or they didn't want to be associated with John McAfee, right? By removing his name from the Twitter account and all of these things. So it appears to be their team or people that are involved within the project who have come out so aggressively against AIntivirus. They allegedly had something to do with the whole debacle with Mario. And truth be told, they don't have the right to tell me what I have the right to do, right? I got my permission from the source. I got my permission from John McAfee. I don't need anybody else's permission,
It sounds more non-insane, yeah.
So that's my stance on that. I don't need anyone's permission to do anything that I'm doing. Right. And if I was doing something that was disrespecting his name, that was disrespecting what he stood for, okay, I could see, why people might have an issue. But the things that we're trying to do with AIntivirus is exactly in alignment with what John wanted. He wanted a suite of privacy products first for us to have because we needed to protect ourselves in the situation that we were living in. And then second, to be brought to the masses, to be brought to the people, because even though they don't understand how exposed they are, how exposed every detail of their life is, they still need to have some tools that can help them sort of cloak themselves, if you will, while they're operating online. There's just some things that people shouldn't have access to, and your finances is one of them. And I don't
Yeah.
care who it is. No one should have access to your finances but yourself and maybe your spouse and maybe your spouse, right? Because maybe you don't even trust your spouse,
Mhm.
but you should be able to have ways to protect yourself, to shield yourself, like I said, from prying eyes. And so that's what we're trying to do here. And so I don't listen to the nonsense of people telling me I don't have the right to do this. I didn't need that. I had John's permission, and I wish the people with ghosts the best, whatever, it is that they're doing or whatever it is that they have been doing. I have no idea. Um, but none of the people that are currently working on ghosts were associated in any way with John. They didn't work personally with him. He didn't hire them. He didn't speak to them. He doesn't know who these people are. Neither do I. So, again, I just find it extremely comical that someone's telling me that I need permission to do the things that I'm doing. It's just really
Yeah.
funny.
I thought it was, like I said, weird. Um,
Yeah.
I have been looking at the project a little bit more in depth. I talked on the Twitter Spaces, and
Yeah.
I basically said, like, Josh, I don't know who you are, um,
Hmm.
but all I really care about is John's name and Janice,
Right.
and I know Janice. I respect her, and I don't. I'm not worried about everything you said. That's like I'm not worried
Hmm.
about you know anything that she's doing. Um,
Hmm.
but I don't know. So I
Right.
have looked into a little bit, and you're right. There's so many things that there's a lot of potential here of things that
Hmm.
John wanted to do. Um,
Yes.
with and he was a lot of the things that he talked about and tried to bring awareness to, which was the biggest thing he would do, is just try to bring awareness. He had no no desire really, but he had no expectations of becoming president. But the
Right.
whole reason he ran was to bring awareness, to make people
Yes.
start talking. Um,
Hmm.
and we're finally seeing the fruits of that happen now, just all across the world.
Yeah.
Because people like John stood up, they forced a narrative to be talked about. And it used to be, hey, if you don't have anything to hide, you don't mind people looking.
Right.
But that's not the question. The question is, why do you want to look?
Right.
If
Exactly.
you're not trying to scam or get anything, why do you want to look? You know,
Hmm.
um,
Why is it your business? Yeah.
yeah, why do you care?
Right.
So it's which there. So we'll go over um, the project, which the aesthetic of it is very interesting. It's
Yeah, we're working on things. Right now, it's just kind of bare bones. We're bringing the idea, and we're going to be fine tuning things as time goes along. So we'll definitely be working on that because my concern is, and it's the same that John's concern always was, which is this has to be marketable to the masses. Like we
mhm,
can no longer, we have to stop catering to the small niche of people that are already in the space, right?
yeah,
Because people that are already in the space, this is okay for them, right? As it is right now. This is something funky and cool and they get it. But when we want to market to the masses, it needs to be very simple. It needs to be like you're using Amazon or any other website that they go on and they can very one click order something and just make it really easy for them. So
yeah.
that is something that we'll be working on, just kind of fine tuning and figuring out how we want to
It, I
best
I didn't know if Josh was
put
going to
that
be here.
together.
There was some questions I wanted to ask about the functionality of everything.
Right. Well,
But
I thought maybe that would be a conversation. Because I believe that Josh needs to And he's happy to do interviews, but I think people need to have a conversation with him. People need to be willing to have a conversation with him because there's been so much said about him behind the scenes, so much
Yeah,
negativity that's been said about him behind the scenes
there,
that
there has
I
there
want him
has
to be able to speak for himself and let
yeah.
people know who he is for himself, you know.
So the uh, SIM cards, the eSIM cards, and gift cards. That is the first thing on the roadmap. The find. I want to ask
Mhm,
you about the John agent, which you can click on chat with John, and then
mhm.
you can say I've been talking to him. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, something I wanted to ask you about: is there as far as marketability, is there any way you can make it voice and then have that? Because like like my phone is a Australian accent, and you
Okay.
can pick certain but if I could have my AI have it
Mhm.
talk to me in John's voice, that would be incredibly
Really
amazing.
cool. Yeah, we're working on different applications for that as well. You know, we've already I think there was a sample that was released of the AI bot, and it sounded eerily like John. It's super weird for me to to hear it speak because you know it's not John obviously, but
Yeah,
it sounds so much like him.
well,
And
that's just
yeah.
just the chatbot was
Mhm.
it was weird. Um, it, if it isn't a darling soul reaching out into the not so dead specter of John McAfee. Who says you can't teach a dead dog new tricks, huh? What chaos can I unleash for you today? It just was like, that's
Yeah.
that's pretty close, man. That's yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's just I think from it's only been fed like his Twitter account, right? So Josh was telling me if John had said some nasty things about me on Twitter, well, then it would say. So
Mm,
thankfully he never did that. But we've been feeding it his, you know, obviously his tweets and everything that's public. So different interviews he's done, and so I am collecting some videos that I have that have not yet been made public, and I'm going to get them to the team so they can feed that to it as well. And
yeah,
I think they've been tweaking it, and it sounds a lot more like him. You know, it's not exactly spot on, but it does have a little more of his essence, you know.
this does it opens up a lot of kind of philosophical questions for me.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, for me as
and,
well.
but as far as like DAOs go, everything's decentralization super important. The
Mhm.
idea of a DAO, the idea of nobody can go to that person, put a gun to their head, and make them do anything. But to be able to have that and some kind of intelligent figurehead making decisions and moving things along is something that really wasn't ever thought of before, and with
Mhm.
AI now is a possibility in the near future. Um, and then there's still no legal. What's the legal ramifications? Because you can't. That was the whole point of decentralization. There's no one to go after. But if it's not a
Right.
human being, how can you? You still really can't go after
Mhm.
an intelligence,
Mhm.
a specter almost. It's an idea just kind of made manifest. Um,
Mhm.
so because I was looking at the first the mixer. What's find? If you can tell me that first, just what is the find? Because I have no idea.
Actually, this is my first time seeing this as well.
Find, yeah, because I don't know. There's U.S., Europe, Caribbean, South America, Australia, South America, Pakistan. So I wanted to just I don't know what it is. I was trying to click on stuff.
I know we're getting ready to have um how do you call it? A treasure hunt, as it were. And so this could be a part of that
Oh, okay.
that's going to
Yeah.
be coming soon. Um,
Now
yeah.
this is interesting because the whole thing that John always pushed was just using crypto,
Right.
stop worrying about number go up. Um, so being able to purchase these gift cards with, you know, if you want to use Anti or other, but to actually turn it into prepaid gift cards,
Yes.
digital gift cards, pay your bills, do things like that.
It's
Um,
pretty cool.
it's very cool, yeah. And then the eSIM
Mhm.
cards, very very cool. Um,
Yeah.
so be able to utilize crypto and utilize that for
Right.
privacy. The
And you can
mix,
purchase this gift card and the ASIM with the anti
yeah,
tokens,
so, yeah,
and so it just helps you to, it just gives it usability, and I think we just need to use these things. I think because still for me even it's hard to cash out your crypto for cash if you need it, and I need cash, I that's just how I move and I operate. And so I think
it's
this
hard
is a
and it's
way
expensive.
to, yeah, but I think this is a way to kind of make that a little easier,
Especially because it's on Solana. That is another thing. It's
Yeah,
cheap. Um,
yeah.
but if you have like say Cash App, you've got to
Hmm.
sell whatever you got into only one form, just Bitcoin. So you've got to pay those fees.
Hmm.
Then you've got to withdraw from that exchange or wherever, which can be very expensive.
Yeah.
Sometimes like $40 just to
Hmm.
send it to like say Cash App, where you can then sell it and pay another fee, then have
Yeah.
the withdrawal fee to put it into. So this just goes straight into a Visa card, which is
Hmm.
a lot of steps that are not happening to be paid for taken. The mixer, um, the minimum looks like it's one soul, so it's not like super cheap. But how exactly does the mixer work?
So the mixer is just a layer of protection where it just masks your transactions. Now, of course, if you are purchasing your anti with your bank card,
Hmm.
that's not going to be masked, so people can still see who purchased that, and that goes for the gift card as well as the eSIM. And so, but what we're doing is we're rolling out more and more products that can help you completely mask yourself. Now, I don't know that people will be willing to go through the trouble of that, but those that need to, at least they'll have the tools, to do that. And I think with the election of Donald Trump, I feel like the opposite side has felt like they feel like now there is a massive need for privacy. And I think these are the people who will be onboarded with these things. But if they knew exactly how exposed they were, if they could understand that, then and we can provide tools to help them sort of better protect themselves, or better enhance their privacy. I think it just puts us in a great position to be able to meet the needs of people as they begin to realize how vulnerable they are. And I only mentioned Donald Trump's being elected because the when Biden was in office, there were a lot of things that were done to erode our privacy. But those people that were for Biden and are liberal, they didn't mind that, they didn't care about that because it was their guy in office, and so now that orange man bad is in office, now they're like, okay, wait, now he has these powers and these controls that were meant for our side. And so I think Rob was mentioning to me that there was like and a steep increase of people buying VPNs in the DC area because they realized, they needed to have some protection. And
Yeah.
but the VPN is not going to do anything if you purchased it with a bank card, and people could figure out, okay, whose VPN this is. So, again, it's just, I think a lot of what we're going to try to push as well is educating people on how vulnerable they are, the things that they need to do to make themselves a lot less vulnerable, and how to use the tools that are out there, because a lot of the crypto space, you don't really have people. I mean, maybe you do, but not on a large scale where you can have somewhere where you can go and find, a quick little 2 to 5 minute, training video on how to, log in or create a wallet or, do all of these things. So, um, I think that's going to become an important part of our project as well.
That's good. Um, yeah, it's I try to stress that, and it makes people very angry that because they're like,
Mhm.
"Yay for our side." I'm like, well, it's still if it's a bad thing, it doesn't matter who's got the power or who's doing it.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
like Alex Jones, there's few people who are like, you can't deplatform this guy and take him over because then they could come for us. And they're like,
Right.
no, no, he's a terrible person. He's like, well, but that's not the issue. And then
Right.
we got to where we are. Um,
Mhm.
so I think that is a huge thing. Um, and it's good to see that shift where now uh, it's the people that were doing it are like, hey, wait a minute. One of the perfect examples is the free speech thing over in Europe. Uh, I saw this like super left person go up to the cops. He's like, "Hey, this dude called me a jerk. It was something
Mhm.
not that bad." And they're like, "Who?" And he's like, "This piece of shit asshole called me a jerk." And the cops said, "What did you say?" And then they were arresting him. And it's like, "What are you doing?" He's the one. It's like you just said that in front of me. I'm
Right.
arresting you. And it was the utter shock that hey,
Mhm.
this can be used against me.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
so, but so I think, like I said, a lot of and I like how you're talking about this in a much more business oriented way. And I wanted to went over the mixer, went over the eSIM. Okay, so there's been a lot of uh, criticism. I've been part of the
Mhm.
spaces and involved in the community about the launch and just comparing with memecoin. It's not
Right.
bad. I
No.
mean, this is an 8 hour in the initial. I mean, that's the initial launch of any. I mean, it's a meme coin. Started out
Mhm.
in meme coin, nothing, and it came out of left field. So of
Mhm.
course we've got this, but then after that, this is an 8 hour chart. It's relatively boring.
Yeah.
So not terrible. Now also, you can go to Deck Tools or wherever. Take the address. I went over to D.5, which if you don't
Mhm.
use DeFi, I have videos on it. You should. Um, it's like using CoinMarketCap or anything. You can scan any smart contract. It checks your wallet. It has. I got hacked a few months ago. This would have, if I just would have been checking more regularly, this would have stopped that. I had to start a new wallet after like a week. There was already like vulnerabilities on there. It fixed it real quick. So, but I ran this
Mhm.
through. It's got a DeFi total score of 78, safety score of 82, um, which is very low, low risk. Uh, Market cap actually went up a little bit, 7 million.
Mhm.
The medium, the big risk thing is that private wallets own a significant percentage.
Mhm.
It also gives you all this information. It's also free. They have a paid version, but it's free. So
Right.
the top 10 token holders, and which I think you locked. You said you locked your
I am one of the top 10 token holders, and my tokens are locked for 2 years.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, it says that top 10 not locked, so check that. But
Okay.
I still added all the these up, and it's like 15% or something. It's not crazy terrible. Um,
Mm.
there are some contracts that you can look at there, but the main risks are basically GameSwap and the dark DeFi, which you can click on those and explains what the scam is on those. But the
Mhm.
liquidity is it's like $500,000. It's a pretty good amount of liquidity that's locked. Um, so overall, it's not bad at all. I mean, I don't see what the thing is that if anyone was up in arms or anything. Like I said, the chart, everything looks pretty fairly healthy. Um, I do. I I don't think it's my own personal opinion. Like
Mhm.
capitalizing on it, on John. I think it's utilizing John and furthering what he wanted to do.
Right,
Uh,
which is the point. I'm not interested in shilling something. I'm not interested in being labeled as a shiller. This coming from this project. So I've said many times, I was looking for something that I could do to memorialize John, um and this for me was the perfect thing. It's got crypto, it's got the blockchain, it's got the privacy features that he was working on that he just couldn't see through because of him being arrested and then later dying. So it's an honor for me to be able to have something to further his legacy and to bring to the people the things that he wanted to do himself. And the fact that Josh Case brought this to me is just an added bonus, because for all that's being said about Josh, it's clear that these people don't know him at all. Because if you had a conversation with him, you'd see that nothing that's being said about him is true. Um, and the fact that Ghost and Whacked are still around. Josh he wasn't a coder and he wasn't a dev, right? No, so no one's ever claimed that that's what he did for Ghost or Whacked. But Josh was John's point of contact for both of these projects. He was the person that he called when he wanted something done, and he was the person that he worked with to bring Ghost and Whacked to fruition. It was Josh Case. And so, um, he had very interesting conversations with John. He would have knew John in a way that maybe even I didn't know, because they could talk about things. John would often call Josh and just sort of pick his brain about, different projects or different ideas of how, things could be worked out on the blockchains and
mhm.
and the ideas that he wanted to bring to the people. Um, so I knew that Josh was if he was excited about something and he had something in the works, he would have given it full thought. He would have made sure that it in no way would I be um legally put at risk, because we know what happened with John and the case that was against
Yeah,
him, that was brought against him. And they completely just used his Twitter account. That's all that they had was his
that
Twitter
was
accounts, was
very.
tweets.
That was an interesting point. Anything when you were talking about Trump, how kind of the launch of those coins really opened the door for you to come in
Yeah. Hmm.
because that had happened. And you bring it up, Josh. You thrown a name around a couple of times. I've heard it. Is that Rob is involved and has
Rob Loggia, yes. Yeah.
yeah. So that I mean, I've been friends with Rob for a long time. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Mm.
The fact that he's kind of come out of seclusion um, and is involved in it, it does speak a lot to me personally. Um,
Can I
is
just say really, for both of us, it just brought us, like you said, out of the shadows, right?
mm,
Because for the both of us, it was a devastating loss. It still is a devastating loss. But this is something that's gotten us both excited. Like if John was here, he 1000% would have said, "Oh yeah, Josh, let's do this." And maybe the marketing would have been a lot better, and there wouldn't have been these fumbles that we've had along the ways, in our infancy. But he definitely would have approved. He definitely would have been a part of it. I'm not sure exactly how he would have felt about the AI sounding like him, but I know for sure he would have been going online for hours on end, just going back and forth with it. And
yeah,
so it's just exciting. It's gotten both of us just excited about this project, to do something for John, that we've wanted to do for a long time. So I'm just really happy that we have something, you know.
that is great. I mean, like I said, you definitely trust, and Rob, I trust Rob. Rob's a good guy.
Yeah.
John always trusted Rob. I
Yeah,
trust
he
Rob.
did.
Um, okay, okay, yeah, Chris, not Chris. What's his name? Charles Hoskinson. He
Mhm.
said, he said, you know, it was a little bit of like insulting, but it was more
Hmm.
like a jab of like, this is so John McAfee. It's just,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like him coming back and doing this now, and it's like this.
Right.
Yeah. So, like I said, if it, I was, when it first came out, I said, I'm just worried about. I just want to make sure his name's protected, and Janet
Yeah.
is protected. It's like, I don't know you, dude. But you're throwing,
Yeah.
with Rob and the thing. And then just looking at it from an, like I just, did, it doesn't look like there's crazy bad smoking guns. Um, but I and it like you said, it's very positive. I really hope these things move forward, and I can see the potential, like you're talking about.
Hmm.
Um, it's almost like kind of things that couldn't be done before, because when John was alive, could be done now, in
Hmm.
his with just his name behind it to push it, but he's not at
Hmm.
risk,
Yeah.
which is kind of it's an interesting thing. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think I think it looks cool.
Thank
Do
you.
you do have a team that's working on it?
Yes, yes, we have a team of people that have been working on it, and we have product releases every Friday from now. Well, actually, it began what the first Friday in February, I believe it was, and through to the 28th of March. So through the end of March, we're releasing something every Friday,
Every week? Okay.
and so in between that, fine tuning, getting things ready. I think for myself, Josh and Rob, and I think even for the team, his team, we understand that this is not about watching the chart. We don't care what the chart is doing, because we're building something. We're building
Mm,
these products and they need to be ready to be scalable for when the masses are onboarded to crypto and the blockchain, because that is going to happen. And so it's just a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. And so we want to be there, positioned, ready to receive these people as they come. We want to have the products ready for them to be able to use. We want to have the educational videos that they need to learn how to do these things for themselves so that they can feel empowered and not frightened by crypto, because honestly, it frightens me. Like, I'm so nervous about, because if you get one little digit wrong in the address, your money is gone, is lost to the ether,
yeah.
and you're never going to get it back. So that's daunting, and to be able to say to people, hey, it's daunting for me. And I was married to John McAfee, but he didn't like sit down and walk me through how to do these things. I had to learn it on my own. So
I-
I'm looking forward to just providing that educational videos for people, short videos that they can, watch
mhm.
quickly and just learn the basics.
Something that's very cool that I've just the past, I don't know, a week or so, just going back and seeing these like old, interviews and talks,
Mhm.
and the people that I didn't know. Patrick Bet David was the guy that came over to your house all those years ago.
Yeah, he
And
did.
John is so young, and he's like this massive, huge, like juggernaut, uh, as far as like, journalism and podcasting and everything
Mhm.
now. And he's like a kid sitting there, hey, I'm John McAfee. All right. Yeah. It's funny. Rogan, so many people bringing him up. And I
Yeah.
watched this, I'm friends with Roger Ver. Roger Ver is
Mhm.
a really good guy. Um, I think he's kind of, was holding the mantle that, you know, John passed.
Mhm.
He was kind of hold, for privacy and freedom. And, but seeing them just talking, um, and they were, like you were talking about, just talking about how bad, how important this is and how important that is. But they're talking about how, I mean, basically calling people out. It's like people want to be lazy and stupid,
Yeah.
and they want to just give you, here's all my information, here's all my trust, here's
Mhm.
everything. I don't want to worry about anything. I just,
Mhm.
take my money out, whatever here. And he's like, with crypto, you have to you have to look. You have to
Yeah.
make sure that all the numbers. It is.
You have to take responsibility for
Yeah,
yourself and for your money. Yes.
so much
And
more.
people don't want to do that. They don't
And
want
yeah,
that
and
responsibility.
that's something that he did push a lot, and that message
Mhm.
did get lost because it's like freedom, 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 personal responsibility, and
Mhm.
it's like yeah, freedom and personal responsibility,
Right.
freedom,
Right.
freedom. All right, it's freedom's great, and personal responsibility. It's like well,
Yeah.
but just that conversation alone was like was awesome. Um, but yeah, he is coming back. Just the things that he talked about, and also just to kind of to the validation of hey, look at these crazy things that are happened that he was right
Hmm.
about. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yes. The craziest of all is that he's actually dead. And he told people, hey, I've got people after me trying to kill me. They're after me. And everybody called him crazy and paranoid and would make jokes and say cocaine is a hell of a drug. And,
yeah,
but now we see that he is actually dead. I don't think he was supposed to die in that prison, but he did.
no, 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 no. And then this,
And not
there's
only not
questions
only
that are
did he
not
not
answered.
right, but he didn't die by his own hand. He died because they performed CPR on him with a noose around his neck. That's
Well,
why he's dead. Because they
yeah,
found when he was found, he was alive. He was alive when they found him in his cell. He was breathing and he had a pulse.
and they did not remove the yeah,
And
and
they
then the fact that
performed CPR on him with the noose around
keep
his
his
neck.
body, they kept his body from you for what a year plus,
Longer, 2 years.
almost 2 years. Yeah, it was almost 2 years,
Yeah.
and they did not keep it on ice,
No,
right? So
not at
you could,
first. For the first, I believe it was the first 6 to 9 months or something, but they just
in
kept him in a refrigerator. Yeah.
result, you can't do an autopsy.
Right.
I've told you there's weird stuff
But the fact
about
that they even kept his body after that, even longer after that, uh, it just makes me think that maybe irrespective of how they, improperly stored his body, I think still there would have been evidence,
yeah. Oh,
something
there's
of what they did.
so many questions, and Rogers in the same prison or was in the same prison.
Was in the same prison,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a
Yeah. I'm sure
it's
it
a
was a lot more difficult for him because he just has a look. He has a look of a cop. You know what I'm saying? And
mhm.
you're in prison with these hardened criminals. So I don't know how long he was there. I think it was just a couple months, but I, you know, I would imagine it would have been really difficult for him just because of his look, And
Mhm.
John had been in prison, you know, um, many times. Not, I'm sorry, it's not funny, but but he knew how to handle himself, a
Yeah,
lot better. And I don't think I've gotten even the full story of what he went through, because he never wanted me to worry, so he would never tell me like what actually was going on with him. He might have had a really difficult time in there, and I don't
that's
know,
another thing.
but
It's chilling watching him and Roger talk about it because he's like it's not about this, it's about control. It's not about this, it's about control. And now Roger's like, hey, you didn't pay these taxes on this money that you really didn't have to claim in the first place. And he's like, okay, well, how much is it? And they're like,
right.
well,
And they've not
hold
told
on,
him. And you know
hold
what?
on
They never
there.
told John either what he owed.
Yeah,
They never came up with an amount that he
it's not about
allegedly
a
owed.
number. It's not about a number.
Yeah.
It's about control and holding them.
Mm.
Um, but that's a whole nother video and everything. I kind of want to just kind of talk about
Yeah.
uh, AIntivirus, AI,
Mhm.
AIntivirus.
Antivirus.
It's a weird name. AI.
Well, it's kind of a play, obviously, on his antivirus. You can't say antivirus for crypto. So it's just a little play on that. So
But
antivirus
you got stuff coming out every Friday. That is
every
first week.
Friday.
I'll
Yeah,
have
we've
links.
got a roadmap. I can share the roadmap with you, and you can maybe share it
Yeah.
with your listeners and followers. But yeah, and it just shows what exactly is going to be coming out every Friday. So we just had our
You want to
soul
pull it up?
mixer, we had our chat bot. Yeah, yeah.
I can pop it on the screen there because we've got on the the roadmap here just says merge soon. Soul Mixer, the agent, find, and the eSIM and gift cards.
Yeah. Yeah,
You got
so we're really excited about things. You know, we're just looking forward to moving forward and having all of these products ready for people. And there's just so many applications for this. There's just so many possibilities for it, and the potential is massive. And we're just trying to make sure that we can execute, you know, on what we've said that we can do. So I think the future is really bright for AInti, and I'm really super excited about it. I'm excited to see how it develops, and most importantly, I just want to honor John, you know, honor his legacy, I just want people to be able to have a way to receive these products that he envisioned.
Yeah, that's. I think it's cool. That's one thing I wanted to do was just kind of protect his name, but honor it. But yeah, this is furthering his goals of what he wanted to do.
Right.
Uh,
Which is
just
what he wanted. You know,
yeah,
like I think the fact that, you know, for this amount of time since he died, the fact that his name kind of just basically died off and no one was really talking about him. Nobody was really talking about, Ghost or Whacked. I think he would have been very disappointed, just
yeah,
because, and not so much because, oh, I'm John McAfee and people should be talking about me, but just because his core beliefs, those ideals are very important still.
yeah, and
And
that's what
and
needed to be talked about and furthered.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
the idea, not the person. Um,
Yeah.
but it is good to see people talking about the person again. It is,
Yeah.
uh, I got this video
Yeah.
here where he's talked to. It was God. This must have been 6, 7 years ago, where he's talking about a two-party system and how just like crazy it is. Where we don't really have a choice. It's like a scam. We're just given
Yeah.
like pick A or B. It's like I want something else. It's like no, you got
Right.
to.
Use it. Yeah,
Um,
you can't.
you want Coke or Pepsi? Yeah, I want orange. Well, Coke or
Sure.
Pepsi. You have a choice,
Mm,
and it's people started talking about that for the past 3 elections, really.
yeah.
Everyone's like that. This isn't real. You know,
Mhm.
um, and then RFK came around, and it's like, whoa, kind of this is actually kind of I think if Trump wouldn't have been involved, RFK would have had another Perot kind of thing. People are just so fed up,
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
tired of and they're seeing through just how messed up things are. Um,
Yeah.
okay, well, it's good having you on.
Thank
Let's
you. Thank you for
have
having me.
you, Josh, on whenever you want. We can talk more. Looking forward to the Fridays, finding out the more stuff that's coming out.
Of
Um,
course.
I'll leave links below to you can check out the roadmap and website, all their socials. It was good hanging out with all. Good hanging out with you, Janice. You
Thank you. It
all
was good hanging out with you too.
take care. I will see everyone in the next video.